So as a professional photographer, I've always been an Adobe guy. Photoshop, Lightroom, I love these pieces of software. And traditionally when people say, what is the best software to get started with photo editing? I would always want to push people towards these Adobe products because they are so good, so powerful. But the problem is that the learning curve is extremely steep. And that is why now I promote this particular piece of software, Luminar 4. Reason being, it's so simple. You can still get amazing results, but it's very intuitive, simple to get started with. It's all slider based. So that's the reason that I think Luminar is a better place to start than the Adobe pieces of software nowadays. But having said that, Luminar also has the room to grow with you. So although it's very user-friendly right from the outset, right from when you get going, it also has some really powerful tools built into it that will allow you to get very good, very professional results with the minimum of fuss. The examples I'm going to share with you today go across the board. It's the kind of things that I'm hoping you guys might be photographing, such as landscapes, family, friends. We've got some portrait work in there as well. So let's take a look at the first examples and see what we can do. First thing we want to do is open up Luminar 4. Now I'm pretty excited about this because this is brand new and I'm only just getting to try out a lot of this stuff myself. I was a big fan of Luminar 3, so I'm hoping that the improvements such as the sky replacement and the portrait editing section that they've added are going to live up to expectations. First thing we're going to do is actually press this plus icon here, and that just allows you to navigate to the folder that contains your photos. And here I've got Luminar examples. You just click OK. And that loads it all into the library module. On the right hand side here where we've got the library module, if we click this little drop down of the folders, that just shows you your folder structure, how all your photos are contained within that. So we can see we've got family photos here, travel and landscapes, portraits, and some examples where I'm going to show you how this sky replacement works. Incidentally, these photographs actually exist in here. They are photos that I have already delivered to a professional client, and I actually edited these in Luminar. So all of these here, for example, were all processed within this piece of software. So not only is it great for new photographers, I am also using it on a professional level as well, so it has room to grow with you. It's deep. Okay, so let's take a look at the family photos and see what we can do. So if we click on this first image of my daughter with this horse, Luminar loads it up, it analyzes the image, and we're good to go. The first thing you want to do is come out of the library module in the top right and head on to the edit module. Click edit, and from here it splits your editing into some basic categories. We've got essentials, we've got creative, we've got the portrait section, and we've got a pro section. Ooh, pro. Let's just jump straight into essentials at the moment. Each of these panels can actually fold down, and then you've got more settings. And from further, you can press advanced settings, and that just brings up a little bit more. But often, you don't need to go that deep. So if you want to edit this photo, for example, very, very quickly, we can just use the AI accent filter and pick that up and just drag that to the right, and straight away it enhances the colors, enhances the contrast, and really starts to make the photo look good just with one slider. And I would actually recommend, if you're going to do anything to any of your photos, I would start with that AI accent filter and just grab it and slide it all the way up, and you'll notice a massive improvement in most of your images. Now this is new AI structure. You can add some of this. If we grab that and bring that up, you can see it kind of makes the image much more poppy, much more crunchy. Now if you're dealing with people and like a soft image like this, I wouldn't really deal too much with that. We can deal with color, we can increase the saturation or the vibrance. We've got heaps of different tools we can use. Vignetting, which is the darkening or lightening of the edges of the frame. We can darken down the edges of the frame and just bring that in slightly closer to my daughter and the horse. And we could, if we want, say that's done. And if you want to see a before and after, you've got this eye tool here. We click that. You can see before and after, and we've really given that a little bit of pop there. One thing I find is a little distracting with this image is the greens are just too green. So what we can do in advanced settings of color is actually come to the green tab here, and we can actually reduce the saturation. So rather than adding more green, we go the other way and we can just pull some of that green out, and then that way our eye goes more to the horse and my daughter and this lovely pink blossom, and I can say, ooh, we're done. So this might be the kind of photograph you might have hanging around, you know, just photographing the family. Here's my wife curling my daughter's hair here. So again, you could just start by coming into this light panel here. If you want, you can brighten the photo up. So if it's too dark, you just bring the exposure up, that's brightening it. Smart contrast is a really nice feature as well. But again, if we don't have to do anything with those, we can jump straight into AI enhance and grab that AI accent and bring that to the right. And you can see straight away we have quite a marked improvement on this image. So I don't think I'll go all the way. I find it's bringing a little bit too much in to my wife's hair and the jumper, so we could just bring that up a little bit here. Do we want to bring in a bit of AI structure? Maybe. Let's have a look at this image here. So this one's too dark. This is an underexposed image. Ooh, Anthony, you're so pro with your photography. Underexposed image. But let's see, if we grab AI enhance again and bring that to the right, it's brightening it up for us, which is really nice that we don't actually have to delve into all of these extra sliders if we don't want to. But let's say you do, you still want to brighten it up a little bit, but protect the highlights, you can. And the great thing with this software is basically all of these sliders, you can just grab them and just throw them left, throw them right, and see what happens. You can really get deep with just tinkering around and getting creative. So talking of creative, let's check out the next panel down below the Essentials panel. It's the Creative panel, and I really love this because there are some really cool creative looks that you just can't get in things like Photoshop, Lightroom. They just don't exist. Say mystical, I can grab this slider, and as I bring it to the right, it sort of creates a softened mystical look. These kind of looks I would use discerningly and not be too heavy-handed, otherwise your images can look a bit strange pretty quickly. But coming into color styles, I absolutely love LUT. So LUT mapping is it's a pretty high-end thing which has actually come from the film industry, but it's found its way into photography now, and from this drop down here you can just move over any of these looks which in my opinion straight out of the box are far too strong. But let's say we wanted either this one or Manhattan was quite nice. Let's say we go for Manhattan and we think it's a little overcooked as it is. No problem, we just grab the slider and reduce it. So if I take that all the way out or put it all the way on, out, on, out, on, out, on, and then I can kind of just get a feel for where I want that to sit. Somewhere around 60 might be quite nice. Now the great thing that you can do as an absolute time saver, which I think is brilliant, is you can just copy the settings that you've created and apply them to the other photos within a set. So if you've shot a whole sequence out in one particular environment, or you create your own particular look that you really love, just save that look and you can apply it time and time again. What we'll do, we'll come down to save new look and click on that down in this bottom corner here. Let's call this AT for Anthony Turnham family toning, and we'll save that. And now if I click the next image here, which is my wife and son enjoying some delicious burgers, what we can do is now come and find that preset that we just saved before, which we called family toning, and we click that. And there you go. We've now got that look that we just created before, and that has applied that to this image. So we've got a percentage slider, so we can reduce that all the way to 0 or apply it. And you can see just by doing one click, you've got that same look reapplied to that image, and that's really powerful. I really, really love that. So you can create a whole collection of styles that you really love and apply it to your images over and over again. So if you're posting things to Instagram and you want a nice consistent look, that's a really easy way to do that. Or even if you're building up a portfolio or creating a photo book and you don't want the colors all over the place, you want a bit of uniformity, which will just add a sense of professionalism to your work. This is a really great way to do that. Let's just look at this last image here quickly, which again is underexposed. And if we come to the Essentials tab, first of all, let's see what we can do. Let's see how that AI enhance works on this one. Accent AI. Whoop. You know, you could just say, I'm done at that point. I'm happy with that. But let's just brighten it up just slightly more. Yeah, give that a nice lightening. And you could say, I'm happy with that, I'm done. So for family photography, it's really easy, just with a couple of sliders, maybe even just that one AI accent slider, you can get a really good result. You can save that as a preset that you want that at 100%, let's say, and just apply that to all your photos as soon as you bring them in, and it's going to do all the heavy lifting for you, saving you a ton of time and making you look like a photography hero. Okay, so what about landscape photography? Let's have a look how it deals with that. So if we come to the library here and we just go to travel and landscape, it's just going to load up a couple of images here, which are raw images straight out of camera. Nothing special. Let's see, edit. Let's come down here. So if you wanted to change the color temperature of your images, warm them up, you can do that. I really love that for sunsets, you know, adding some more orange, maybe a bit of magenta. You know, I like the way that's heading. What about some contrast? How's that looking? Yeah, you know, you can go the opposite way with this smart contrast, and that'll actually bring that detail back in through the highlights. Let's even bring the highlights down even further. That's great. I love it. How about the shadows? Bring up some of the detail there. Do you know what? I'm not too worried about seeing that. AI enhance. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We're getting a little saturated at the moment. Perhaps a little too much, so I might just dial that back a little bit. But you can see, again, with a couple of sliders, we're really getting a pretty good result straight away. Let's have a look at this Milky Way shot here. So first of all, the image loads up and we can start having a little play around. Do we want to take this blue? Do we want to take this more towards the orange side? I mean, it's nighttime, so you're going to have like pretty much no color, but we want to be creative here, right? So let's go crazy. Let's have a nice warm sky at night. What's going on there? It's almost like a sunset meets Milky Way. AI enhance, let's try a bit of that. Oh yeah, that's brightening that up there. What about the structure? Structure will be interesting because that's going to bring out the Milky Way there and the tree. I mean, look at how dramatic that is. So if we use that before and after technique again, with just a couple of sliders, we've really changed that image. Whether you say you've enhanced it or not, that's a matter of opinion. But you can see that there's potential to be creative here. So let's have a look at that mystical filter again. Let's see if we can kind of blur that. Let's take that away so we see the whole image. You know, that just makes it a little more intriguing, doesn't it? What else have we got in here? I mean, we've got a glow filter. I could imagine posting this to Instagram and straight away getting people wowed by the fact that it's bright, it's contrasty, it's a cool image. I might actually do that as an experiment. Great results really quickly. Let's have a look at this shot I got just of this jetty leading off into the mountains here. First of all, I'd jump back into that Essentials tab. I would grab that AI accent filter and let's look at the difference here. You know, it is absolutely night and day, and it is so intelligent the way it's doing it. I'm really, really impressed with the artificial intelligence. It's saving me so much time. Let's see, what about this golden hour? Everyone likes to photograph in the golden hour, which is right around that sunset time. You know, so you can start to bring in more of those oranges as toning. What about light? Let's brighten this up and just make it a little less moody. You know, maybe we'll do that. One thing you can do, let's say we're happy with this in the foreground, but the sky's getting a little bit too bright. Within the Pro section, Pro, you can actually come down and there is an adjustable gradient that, let's go to the bottom of the picture and, sorry, let's not do the bottom, let's do the top and darken the top down. I mean, how good is that? You don't even have to waste time creating a mask. You can just go, yep, top of the picture, darken it down, thanks. You can change the color of the top of the picture. The creative possibilities really are endless. Okay, I'm going to play around with one last image before we move on to the two new improvements in Luminar 4, which I'm really excited to get to. They are the portrait tools. They've got an AI portrait retouching tool, and they've also got a sky replacement tool. And I can't tell you the amount of times with either my landscape images or my architectural photography where I've had a pretty meh kind of sky that I've needed to replace. And to do it in Photoshop, you can do it very accurately, but it is so time consuming. So I'm really excited to see what kind of results we can get out of this. But before we move on to that, let's quickly smash out a quick edit on this tree. So let's come into the light section. Let's do some smart contrast, see how that's looking. Let's not take that too far. I actually like taking that the opposite way to what you would expect. So taking that away, just flatten out that image a little bit, and then let's bring in some structure, and let's do that with the AI accent filter. I am really loving that already. I'm finding that the blue's getting a little too saturated, but overall what it is doing to this whole image, it's just insane how clever this AI is. I really love it. Whew, it's hot in here. That's better. Right, let's get back to this image. What about AI structure? Yeah, now this is what I'm talking about. This is what I was really after for this particular image with the tree, with all this detail in the tree trunk here. I just really wanted to actually be able to bring some of that detail out. And look, with one slider, I'm bringing out the detail in the tree trunk, more detail in the dry grass here. Let's add some vignetting around the edge just to bring our eye in more towards that tree. And what else should we do? Let's go into the creative tab and see what we can do here. Dramatic. Let's see what dramatic does for us. Ooh, the drama. Let's do a little bit of that. Local contrast. Localized contrast. Yes, I want some localized contrast. You can see some detail in the clouds being brought out there. Look, this is really great for a starting bit of software, just to have a play around with sliders. You can see in real time exactly what's going on and what you're doing to the image. If your image is starting to get a little kind of crunchy, like it's very high contrast at the moment, yeah, strong localized contrast, this mystical filter, by adding that, it's just softening everything back up, so you get the benefit of the contrast with a nice soft approach. So I really like that. What I'm going to do is actually desaturate the image and give it a colorization. So let's go to color. We're going to desaturate slightly. So we're almost taking the color away. And let's change the color balance to, yeah, like much warmer, kind of almost sepia kind of look. If you're going to push the color temperature really, really far like this, you can do that. But the thing you need to remember to do is just bring the saturation down, because if you leave it where it is, it just gets pretty oversaturated and pretty ugly pretty quickly. But just with a hint of color and then being really forceful with that slider, you can get a pretty cool effect. So let's say that one is done, and let's move on to the portrait editing. So here's our wonderful model Sammy that we were working with. She's a gorgeous girl, loading the photos up, and as with every single human being out there, she does not have perfect skin. None of us do. So let's see what the filters within Luminar can do for us. So the first thing I'm going to do with this photo is actually improve the crop. So this tool here allows you to actually crop the photo. And as you can see, it's keeping the same ratio that we started with, which was a 3:2 ratio. So that's great. So we can get a much better crop. As you'll notice, it's a very washed out image, and that's because the sun was coming into my lens. You can see on the back of her hair. So if you're ever photographing someone in bright sunlight, if you put them against a dark background, so this was a rock wall face, the sun was lighting her, not the background, and we get her facing away from the sun, you can actually get some really nice soft lighting on someone, even in harsh sun settings. Little tip for you there. So let's see if we can improve this photo first of all before we look at the portrait side of things. Accent AI, or AI accent, let's crank that bad boy all the way up and all the way out. It's not doing too much for this one, and I feel it's because our blacks are not pure black. So what we can actually do, if you remember, we have an advanced setting here. Drop that down. Oh, you can control the blacks. How advanced. Crazy. Let's grab it and take it to the left. There you go. And we've reset our black point to where the contrast should actually be. We can then brighten it up if we need to, but we've brought that black point all the way down, which is a really great starting point for this image now. So let's jump straight into the portrait section, shall we? So let's come here to the AI Skin Enhancer, and what I'm going to do is actually zoom in. I'm sure Sammy won't mind if we zoom right into her face here, and we can see that she's a beautiful girl. Let's see if we can use the AI Skin Defects Removal. Let's tick that, and let's grab the slider and see what it does. Wow, it's totally softened her skin. So if I take that away and bring it back in, it's intelligently softening her skin, which is really cool, but it's not blurring her skin. It's still keeping skin texture and skin detail. It's leaving all the hair alone, the background alone. The AI is smart enough that it knows exactly where her face is, exactly where her skin is, and is just applying softening to that, and at the same time leaving, I can see like skin pore textures. It looks like this skin enhancer tool, the artificial intelligence in it just gets you a much more pleasing portrait look with one slider again, and that is one of the massive keys of this software. Luminar is all slider based, and it does an amazing job with these sliders. Brilliant. Let's have a look at Portrait Enhancer. So here you can see we've got a whole heap of tools to actually help us improve a portrait. Let's see how well it does. You normally want the face to be the brightest part in an image, particularly if you're doing a portrait. So there is a slider for face light. So let's see, if we start to bring that up, Sammy's face does get brighter. So again, this is one of those things you probably don't want to go all the way with this slider, but you can see, I'm doing that so you can see what it does. Let's tickle that in a little bit. You can do red eye removal if you've used a flash and the person's got red eye. She does not here. Eye whitening, let's see, if we crank that up, yeah, you can see that her eyes do whiten, and we've got a catch light, the little brightness in her eyes. That was whitening too. Let's try eye enhancer if we push that all the way up. Okay, so that adds a little bit of contrast in there as well. We can slim people's faces. Let's see, she's already a very slender girl. Yeah, you may want to be careful slimming people and actually altering the shape of their faces, but just for the sake of demonstration, we can slim her face slightly. We can enlarge eyes. So if you're like me and you've got squinty little pea-hole eyes, you can actually enlarge the eyes. So that's pretty cool. Now she looks surprised. So let's leave that alone. Eyebrow improve. Let's see, Luminar, whether it's an improve. Yes, it is. It's filling in the eyebrows. That's very clever. The other things, you can tell what they do. Let's leave that there. Let's click the corner toggle here, and we'll see a before and after with all the changes we've made before and after. And it's actually subtle, but I think it's a really nice change. You can do the same with the skin enhancer. We can turn that off and we can turn that on. So I think we've done a really good job with the AI skin enhancer, and I say we've done a really good job. Luminar has actually done a very good job for us. Again, you can save these settings and apply them. As soon as you bring a portrait in, you could say these are the settings that I want for this portrait, and Luminar will apply them. We could also put a color grade on this by going to our creative look, color styles, choose a lookup table. Let's go for that. Let's not say it, let's just go for it. And what we can do is actually play with the amount. And I really don't want too much of this because it's kind of bleaching her face out. Like, I like the color treatment, but it's bleaching her out a little bit. And she's got this beautiful color to her skin. In fact, I'm going to change it. I'm going to go for, let's go for sepia on this one. Yes, I'm enjoying that. Okay. Let's say that photo of Sammy is done, and let's move on. Okay, so I thought that the AI skin enhancements and portrait tools are a real win for Luminar. They are going to save people so much time in portrait editing. But now we're going to take a look at the sky replacement tool, which again has the potential for huge time savings and enable new photographers, people new to photo editing, the ability to replace skies if they want to, really simply. And it is super simple. Let me show you. This just blows my mind. It really does. So within this tab, we just choose the sky that we want. Let's do something dramatic. Let's say dramatic sunset. Click that, and you can see straight away it is masked out the trees, masked out the roof line of the house. And this is the thing that I think is the coolest thing. We've actually got a little bit of reflection going on here. This is where the AI just kind of blows my mind. So the masking has been done for us, and this addition of a reflection here, it's just brilliant. And what we can also do is relight the scene. So this was the original lighting for this property, but as we increase this slider here, it actually matches the property to the sky. That's so cool. Let's try a different sky. I've just thrown one in. Let's grab Dramatic 3. I really like that as well. So there are a whole heap of different skies available to you that you can just put in. You might want to keep things looking much more natural and go for a sky that represents midday. But if you do want to go for something that's like a dramatic sunset, you've got this relight scene slider here, which is designed just to kind of match the lighting of this environment to what sky you've dropped in. That one, I'm not really buying that one. That was the one we started with, which I thought was quite nice. Oh, that's a nice pinky glow there. So at your disposal, you have some really nice skies that come packaged with Luminar for you to use. You can also import your own skies if you would like to. And as you can see, but even before I played around with any of the settings, sliders, the basic settings, the predetermined settings are doing a really good job of just bringing that sky in. Let's have a look and see how well it does with another example. I have not actually tried it on this one at all, so let's see what job it does. Personally, I really like the sky that we've got already, so I wouldn't change this one, but let's see. The option to do it is there, and again the masking is there. It's doing a fantastic job. It actually makes me want to cry when I think of the time I've invested masking out trees, mountains, houses in the past to replace skies. The fact that this tool is here now, I wish I had it like 5 years ago. So guys, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope that this has given you a good introduction to Luminar, and if you are looking for a photo editing piece of software which is just going to help get you started and that can grow with you, I've shown you that this really is a great option for you. Please let me know what you're most looking forward to using. Would it be the sky replacement? Is it the retouching tools with the portraits? The fact that it's got AI skin retouching is just insane. So let me know in the comments below. I'd really like to know your thoughts. Also, a like, a thumbs up, a comment means the world to me. If you want to get hold of this software, Skylum are currently doing a pre-release offer where you can get hold of this at a discounted price. If you've missed that by the time you watch this video, don't panic. You can use the discount code @sky10 and that will actually give you a discount at the checkout. I believe this software is well worth the investment for all those AI tools built into it, the different filters that are built into it. Let me know how you get on with it and I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.